He's playing all the top hits, but with that said, we are going to be hopping into the game very, very soon because, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, this is Nightmare, heading all the way from Laos, pulling out a Link into a Kufra matchup and the Alice just in case in the late game, and now they're going up against Evos SG, also pulling the late game and also with the Kufra. Boys and girls, here we go.
And the game of 20% is now here. There's a 20% chance where Auster is gonna be picked. That's what stats track say. The 20% came here and right now. Or even every single one, almost close to every single one of Evos SG's lineup has been prophesized by Ares like multiple times, so I find that very, very enticing. But anyways, let us just go on for an introduction as to letting everyone know where everywhere is. We do have an Alice all the way up in the top lane. We'll be fighting against the Glue. Bottom lane, we'll be looking at the Benedetta fighting against a Harif. While in the middle lane, we'll be expecting to see that the Kufra as well as the Yip will be banking it all against the Cho as well as the Lunox. While Ling and Aldous will be having their fun in their own little jungle.
Yeah, Evos actually back onto the Elders as well as the Harif pick that they had. And I think that having the Glue already solves a big problem in the Alice. We have seen Glue being very effective at halting Alice early game, and with that coming into play, we already see it so tough to break down. And Potato now coming to the rescue. Can they save him time? Yes, he can. He's gonna come in, slam those shots onto Achilles, and that's gonna signal Nightmare Esports retreat.
This is not gonna be an easy game at all coming in for the side of Alice. He's having a little bit of difficulty when it comes to dealing with the Glue, or maybe the other way around slightly. We do have a massive amount of skill damage gonna be popped right onto Soul, while Jasmine as well as Achilles, they definitely want to get a piece out of this Potato and make him into French fries! And down goes the Aldous.
Well, this is not unfamiliar territory for Evos SG. In the MPL SG finals, that is, against RG SG was rocking the early game. They were completely decimating Evos SG, giving Elders such a tough problem. But that's when we saw Pokemon rotate into the jungle, start to pick up those buffs, and give Potato that time to farm up his stacks. So, will we see that rotation happen? I'm not so sure, but for now, Evos actually is sticking to the lanes, getting Harif the goal lane so that he can get that items out.
Calamity Reaper is definitely going to be the first telltale sign that Pokemon may start to get himself into the jungle. We will of course be able to tell you guys more about that, and of course we'll keep a very close eye as to where Harif as well as that Auster is. But so far so good looking into Pokemon, as BZ is, well, unfortunately unable to hold his own in the bottom lane. While Evos SG is, well, they're putting themselves in the shoes of the enemies, trying to think of how is Nightmare Esports supposed to jump right in. Obviously, it seems like Alice will be the starting course, and Alice jumps right in. It's just going to be going in with flowing of blood, but unfortunately it doesn't seem like things are looking good for the side of Nightmare Esports, as Achilles, he's now dead, and not to forget, Ling with just a sliver of health, he had to get himself away, leaving Jasmine as well as BZ all around the map to work around JPL as well as Soul.
And that is why the Kufra pick was so important. We saw Nightmare Esports contesting for the turtle, but the moment Tyrant's Rage came in, Nightmare Esports couldn't continue the momentum of the Ling. The Tempest Blitz immediately was nullified, and Evos actually could back off safely after taking the Lord for himself.
As BZ.
Turtle, like, that is not Lord.
Yeah,
a little bit too early, too little. 6 minutes too early to be exact.
Well, you can have a 3-minute Lord and that would be pretty darn interesting if you ask me. But well, for now, we are 4 minutes into the game. 1:1. There is not that big of a difference in terms of goal gap nor the kill gap. And looking all around, we do have Lin that's just going to be heading himself down to the bottom lane, only to be pretty vulnerable to the hands of Pokemon as drop down to Zaman Force, as well as the Tempest of Blades from Lin as a form of a defensive ultimate to get himself out of there alive.
Now this is a very tough lane for BZ, right? Because he's kept BZ trying to keep up with the Harif, especially if you consider the fact that Harif's kit is just so mobile. He has the Chrono Dash, and it's just so easy to dodge some of this Benedetta skills. Meanwhile, top lane, so might have dove a little bit too deep, but look at the sustain coming up. Tyrant's gonna start targeting onto Soul. He's just gonna pop the Parasite immediately, rejects all of the damage up, but I don't think he's gonna commit to sticking up on top of Achilles.
But you know what, Jasmine, which is pretty much gonna be right under the turret's nose, they all from Evos Esports can pretty much tell that, hey, Alice is currently at a low amount of health. They should do something about it. But unfortunately, well, Evos SG, they're not looking forward to that kind of engagement, that kind of aggression. They allowed Alice to just teleport back home, and Pokemon having a really good time in the bottom lane. He did manage to bring down BZ, so there could be a possibility that Nightmare Esports may want to go for a little bit of a switcheroo perhaps, because he can definitely get himself away from Pokemon a little bit easier than BZ.
The first major item for Girl as well, the Ice Spin 1, which means if Nightmare Esports want to pick a fight, he will be in for World Hurt when the real world manipulation comes in.
Well, speaking of real world manipulation, that is not going to come out, but now then he will be, as he's just going to be pulling down all kinds of artillery barrage onto the side of Nightmare Esports, but none of that is going to be that big of a deal. Potato fortunately did manage to get himself a single kill, while Soul gets himself a double. 3% down from the side of Nightmare Esports. Pokemon sacrificed his life, putting down the Zaman Force, pulling every single attention onto his head. So it is going to be a relatively good trade in favor for RSGSG, putting themselves at a 2,000 gold lead.
Evos actually finding themselves in a comfortable spot. 2k, like you said, above Nightmare Esports in this point in the game. Potato's doing really well. They didn't really need to rotate too much, but here we go. Pokemon starting to take the blue buff away, and this means that they want to start higher, getting the high profile, where others will be looking to split push.
Well, Evos SG, they are. It doesn't seem like they are trying to change anything up about the orders as well as Evos SG, since it does seem like things are looking to be pretty darn good for them. So there's really no reason for them to change things around. In the meantime, JPL, he was bouncing as a pretty hard ball. Unfortunately, throughout that, there is going to be 4 members just going to be diving themselves right onto this bandaged monster, and thus down he goes. Soul as well as Pokemon, unfortunately, was not able to fully capitalize throughout the scenario to bring anyone else down other than Link. But all in all, that is still a pretty good trade if you ask me.
Yeah, something just so weird, right? Potato nearly got the kill onto Alice, and rightfully so. Alice still needs more time. Jasmine needs to farm those stacks, but you know, Eldos is going to match her pacing. That's the scary part about Evo's Ashes draft. If they can win early game, that's good. But if it drags the distance, the Eldos is going to get tankier, he's going to get more damage, and Nightmare Esports, well, they are in for a bad time.
Well, it does seem like things are starting to get a little bit weird for the side of Nightmare Esports. They seem to be putting a lot of emphasis onto this Alice and trying to push her into a fight, which I don't particularly like at all. So it's kind of, well, hard to deal with, and especially from the Koopa's bouncing ball, you gotta have to be extra careful.
Yeah, I mean, Alice just caught in a tough spot. Whenever she wants to get out the flowing blood, immediately the bouncy ball comes up, stops that Alice from jumping away from the fight, and now Nightmare Esports once again finding Jasmine being picked off onto top lane now. Evos Ashley looking to apply a bit of pressure down in mid. Pokemon caught into rotation as well. I think this is a pretty easy tier 1 turret in the mid lane. Don't think Alice is going to commit to that. And on top of that, Potato is also going to walk away with the opponent's blue buff.
Oh, now a face check as...
Wow, face check, yes.
Yeah.
Whoa, my goodness.
A face check. Definitely a face check of damage. I just don't really know what things are gonna be working out for Nightmare Esports now. One Punch Man is going downtown.
Evos actually now rotating onto the mid. They try to find the pickoff onto Achilles. Gonna get away with the Chikundo. JPL now walking straight into the red buff, and it does look like Evos Ashley is gonna get the tier 2 at the bottom lane uncontested. Wave already pushed up from Glue onto the top side, so Benedetta's not gonna be able to pick up the tier 1 as a trade. And on top of it, once again, Evos Ashley going to walk away with another buff from Nightmare Esports.
Evos SG, they are pretty happy with the current state they are on. They managed to push Nightmare Esports in a very tough spot, and BZ, despite being Benedetta, or rather, being Benedetta, he can play rather aggressively and, you know, full of risk and rewards, because he can just pretty much farm up everything up onto the middle lane and do what he can. But a little bit of a heads up. Arif has already completed the Calamity Reaper as well as the Feather of Heaven. But one thing is also going to be pretty darn important is the fact that, well, it does have Ezra Blade as well as the Wizard Boost. So
yeah, I think he's ready, right?
he's
One more item,
ready.
the Holy Crystal, a couple more 100 goals before that spike comes up even further. And now Evos SG looking to push into this blue buff. Doesn't look like Nightmare Esports is going to be a contest for that. The Tyrant's Revenge into the Tyrant's Rage. This could be the death of Soul. I mean, what can they do? Nightmare Esports just so hard countered by this crew for a pick. And now BZ falls into the Lord's Pit, but I'm pretty sure he's just going to dash out of that area. While Potato Split pushing on top lane. If he needs to, he can always use the contract queue to join up with the rest of the team.
One thing that I also realized when it comes to looking at Pokemon's item builds, there could be a possibility that the Pokemon's emblem is not what we expected, like another 5% onto the emblem, as because of the fact that he does have a Calamity Reaper, he does have the Azure Blade as well, which is another 5% cooldown reduction. So it's like the Azure Blade can only make into a Endless Battle, another Calamity Reaper, or even a Thunderbelt. So maybe a Thunderbelt might be imminent as well.
It doesn't matter, right? The meta build for Harris nowadays is just to get as much cooldown reduction as possible. I think the extra 5% doesn't really matter. The spike comes in when he puts the Holy Crystal because it then amplifies whatever magical items that he already has stored. Meanwhile, top lane, Lynx trying to find a pick up the Potato, but look at how tanky this Potato is. They're spending so much on trying to kill him, and he won't even go down. Achilles burns the flicker as well. And here comes the Tyrant's Revenge into the Tyrant's Ridge. Achilles surviving badly. Oh, but the flicker will trap him. Potato doesn't even need the contract kill, but now BZ trying to get something back in revenge, but that burst as well. 2-punch and easy. BZ is down to half HP. Now Glue coming in. They really want to kill onto the Bandita. They will pull in the real world manipulation as well. Well, they don't get punished at the top lane, but remember, while all of that was happening, Pokemon had already taken away the Lord, and now they are looking to go for the GG push.
This is a dominating game coming from the side of Evos SG. The maximum amount of damage dealt from the side of Pokemon, and Potato is completely out of sight for Jasmine to even reach. And not to forget, Jasmine is an Alice, a supposed late game hero that can only come online in late games. This pretty much kind of shows Soul's inability to do anything in this game, and that is gonna be slightly tough on him. In the meantime, Evos SG, they're pretty much prepping for something here in the middle lane. No matter what what Nightmare Esports do, they can't go and stray far from the lane at all because, well, Evos SG is there and ready to hunt.
I'm sorry to say, right? Link is just trash at defending his base. He needs that blue buff as well that's constantly being stolen away by Evos SG. So this is going to be a very, very tough case for Nightmare Esports. Look at that, bottom lane already down. Top lane will go down very shortly as well. And Jasmine already down to half HP. Meanwhile, Achilles trying to buy some time. He kicks Potato into his base, but look at how tanky he is. Look at that. And now Pokemon comes in to clean things up. I think Jasmine might just go down here. And yes, he does. Can they still defend this? It's a 3v5. Super Minions now pushing into the mid lane. BC trying to do as much damage as possible. Now he has to back off. Evos actually walk away so clean with that fight. Tier 3 turrets on all this lane, but it's not stopping there. Evos actually, they want to go for this push. Potato comes back in. BZ down to half HP. Pokemon chasing in with the Synchro Fisher. Doesn't matter, they got legs, and that is GG with Evos actually picking up the first game.